Hello, and welcome to this webcast on Project Business Automation. I am Matt Mong, the Vice President of Market Innovation here at Adika. If you're joining us today, you may not know that Project Business Automation, or PBA for short, is a new category of business systems to support project-driven business. And that is why we're here. We will cover several key areas about project business automation during this webcast, including its roots, why it's needed in the market, what it consists of, and some strategic benefits that you can see from it. I encourage you to ask questions in the chat, the question and answer module of the Teams application. I will see those questions and answer them either right away, or I've also left some time at the end to answer any outstanding questions there may be. And with that said, let's get started. So before we can talk about project business automation, we first need to agree on what is project business. Well, basically, if delivering projects, whether externally or internally, is an important part of your business, you're engaging in project business. And really, there's no limits or in industries or application where project business can be found. So regardless of the industry you're in, project business is applicable when projects matter to your business. It's simply, the percentage or degree of project business that varies. So, for example, external projects, companies in architecture, engineering, and construction, project-based ETO manufacturing, aerospace defense, professional services are all typically referred to as project-based companies, and they obviously manage project business, delivering projects to their customers. The other way to look at this is for internal type project business. That's any type of retail company, distribution, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and others. They need projects to be integrated with the rest of their business as well. So almost every mid to large enterprise has this need. Many of these companies have project-based divisions or significant capital projects that require project business management. So, whether you're running projects for your customers or managing projects internally, if you have a project with a budget, you're managing a project business. So let's get into the core problems for project business. To run project business today, most use a string of disparate systems and tools, poorly designed to support how the business actually works and how projects work. Projects are not at the center of this array. It's not unusual for companies to be using 10 to 15 different applications. Typically, they have a project scheduling tool, whether that's Microsoft Project or Oracle P6. Then they have an ERP. But it's usually relegated to, just that simple accounting function. They may have other apps for time and expense, estimating, resource management. But by far the most widely used tool out there is Excel. They're managing $100 million projects in spreadsheets. So what ends up happening is these businesses try to adapt their processes around these disconnected tools. Which creates a disjointed and opaque environment and makes it hard for even the most experienced people to create a stable and profitable business. Nothing is connected, nothing talks to one another, and this causes massive delays in information sharing and process inefficiencies, as well as just inaccurate data. Just to give you a real life sense of that, when we talk to our customers, we hear things like this from them. They know they have a problem because their ERP just doesn't support them. They use tons of spreadsheets, of course. And the one that I've heard firsthand actually is some businesses don't know if their projects are profitable until well after the fact, even 90 days post-project completion. After they send out all invoices, do they know if they made any money? So to be honest, I don't know how you run a business like that. It's really just guesswork at that point and gut feel, really. The solution, we think, calls for a new category of business systems for project business. We coined the term project business automation to represent that category of solutions. And we're encouraging analysts, thought leaders, and others to pick up on this concept and start using it to define these types of solutions. PBA really creates a fully integrated end-to-end business system for these project-driven organizations. We break it down into three things that a PBA solution should do, essentially, and that is to standardize, integrate, and systemize the business processes and data for project-based processes into one system. And what does that mean? That really includes the project financials, all the project cost management activities, project management and operational activities, and project portfolio and business analytics and insight on top of that. All this needs to be included in a PBA system. And as a result, PBA eliminates the need for all those point solutions we saw that they typically use. All the workflows and data are integrated with PBA instantly and seamlessly. And then this enables that real-time visibility into what's going on in the project, but also the business. So it gives you more control over the business. And with PBA, the customer always has detailed insight into the fiscal health of the company. And the results are, lower risk and better project outcomes. Now let's look a little bit at why project business automation is needed in the market, why it makes sense, why there's a gap there that needs to be filled with PBA. Some of the other solutions that many companies may be looking at in project business may include these, such as ERPs, of course, but we know that they were actually originally built for industries that have highly repetitive processes, such as just straight up manufacturing or distribution. They're not meant for projects. You need something else for your project business. Professional service automation, PSA, is one, but those solutions are really built for professional services, as the name says, which leaves out all other types of project business, including any type of construction, engineering, manufacturing that need more than just a professional services bent on it. Plus, most of these solutions are PSA solutions are CRM focused, and so they actually don't include the business side of the projects like the financials or the supply chain. Project management applications are out there, of course, but they're mostly used as just planning tools. They're focused on the operational components and not really interested in the business management side of things. Similarly, portfolio management solutions are basically an analysis tool, not a business management system, not an execution tool. So again, they just end up being one of those silos where information sits. And so therefore, with all these disparate tools, we end up with a lot of spreadsheets. They tend to be the most used project business tool out there. And of course, we know they're completely disconnected and don't support the business holistically at all. So as we can see here, there is a need for PBA in the market. There is a gap that brings together the projects and the business sides into one system. And some analysts agree with us that PBA is needed in the market. Forrester, for one, picked up and started to endorse the project business automation category last year with a Nowtech report. This report used to cover PSA, actually, but Forrester thought PBA goes beyond the PSA moniker because it expands it in scope and in industry application. So PSA was mostly about, as I talked about, mostly about project management on the operational side. It's on the sales side. It didn't do much for financials and analytics. PBA expands that. It's a more encompassing tool that looks at the business as a whole and integrates them. and really expands capabilities to meet the needs for all project-driven business as well. So PBA is a much bigger application than PSA, and analysts like Forrester believe that this is where the market is headed. And of course, we can back that up here at Adecco with many great customers, all in different industries, but all project-driven. They have project business needs, and they see tremendous value in project business automation. So what are the core elements of project business automation? We'll talk a little bit now in more detail about what I mean and some of the transformative impact PBA can have on project business. Essentially, there are three core elements, as I briefly mentioned before, of PBA. The first core element is project financials. The PBA system really must provide a project-based financial structure to manage the costs of its projects and the business as a whole. This includes, most importantly, the cost breakdown structure, and a lot of people don't use this, but so the cost breakdown structure is similar to the work breakdown structure. It is a multi-level financial management hierarchy that's central to planning the project structure against which all the financial activities are planned and managed. So the CBS allows you to define the exact level of details required to efficiently manage the costs of a given project or contract. And it's different from the WBS, a work breakdown structure, and that's on purpose. It is connected to it, but it's different because you need a different level of detail on the cost side versus the operational side. In addition, or I guess included with the CBS should be some fundamental controls. The project cost controls such as cost to complete, estimated completion are just a couple, but they are key ones that must be there. By periodically evaluating the CTC or EAC, the controllers can predict and record variances before they actually materialize, and that means in time to take corrective action if needed. And then budget management, all budgeting should be included as well. They should be processed within a dedicated budget versions, capturing costs and revenue estimates as well as cash flow projections. So changes to the original budget then are processed as revisions. So you can't just change anything after it's committed to a project. You got change orders and transfers and a full audit trail of all the budget versions and change orders is available. So you know exactly what has happened over the course of the project. The second piece of a complete project business automation system is, of course, operations. This is the project management hub of the system where all the project and operational activities and workflows are managed. That means it must include a robust work breakdown structure, and this means really that you're not using another project management application like a Microsoft Project or P6. That may seem scary for some people who've used those applications for years, but if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense to have your central project planning be outside your project business system. That needs to be integrated into all of your operational and financial activities. It should be seamless and work in real time with all the other areas of the business, just like any other business system. So that includes, for example, your project schedule should have a direct connection to the financial side, or say your supply chain, so that capacity and material constraints are visible right there in the central planning tool. And then you can adjust the project schedule to account for those constraints in real time. That's what it means to be integrated. Good risk issue milestone management are also required for PBA. You need to be able to see and send updates to all stakeholders on the state of the project at all times. And of course, central to any project business is robust resource management must be supported. This enables planners to adjust project schedule based on availability and expertise according to the project budget and the timeline and the resources available. Third, a PBA system should provide real-time insight and visibility into your projects and your business. This type of insight reduces costs because you can detect issues earlier, and lowers risk because you have a full view of what's going on in your projects. To get that comprehensive real-time insight, what PBA provides is an all-in-one system. So if your core projects aren't integrated into your business system, then you won't be able to get real-time analytics. So the all-in-one, the integration aspect is key here. Before PBA could take days or weeks to get updates on the financial status of your projects, but with PBA, every day where a project stands in real time. And this analysis should happen automatically. There should be some core metrics built into the PBA system based on what project businesses need to see, so that when things go outside the norm. And things like stakeholder alerts facilitate the dissemination of insight to the right people at the right time. So PBA really supports full transparency so that you can solve problems better and faster than you could without it. When you put all the core elements of PBA together, it makes some capabilities possible that just weren't before. Some very cool things can happen in PBA with all that integration. And I'll just cover a few of those as examples. I'll give you some examples from Adika Project Business Automation, so you get a feel for what Adika offers. First is project modeling. So before PBA, most people used project templates to save time when building out a project, trying to provide an estimated price and timeline to, say, their customers, which is basically using an old project plan as the basis for a new project. Project templates are great, but they are static and require a lot of rework when you use them. Project modeling takes this concept of templates and makes them dynamic, so that you can build a project based on approved models that are always kept up to date and incorporate best practices. And instead of starting basically with a full template that you have to go back and manipulate, you select a project model that has many configurable variables, and all the variables are given to you up front for you to update based on the new project specifications. So once you configure the model, it creates a complete project plan and estimate for you. So having the project financials and the operations and all those associated components in one system allows you to create a synchronized, ready to execute plan and estimate in minutes instead of hours or days, depending on your projects that could have taken before. So project modeling then really helps accelerate the sales process as well, because you're able to create accurate plans and estimates faster than before. Plus, you're ready to transition immediately to execution because the plan is complete, it's accurate, it's based on curated models, and we know what's in it. So it's ready to go. There's less rework down the road because the plan is not just the hope of a salesperson. It actually reflects real timelines and real up-to-date costs. Second example here is what we call Project Autopilot that comes with Adika Project Business Automation. So Project Autopilot is essentially an alarm system for your business. It constantly captures and analyzes key performance indicators on your projects. Then if anything goes outside a critical threshold, the appropriate stakeholders are automatically notified. So you can see here, here are just some of the examples of the KPIs that are tracked automatically and in real time in Adika's PBA system. So if things go into the red, for example, on a project, the appropriate stakeholders are notified and then can dig deeper immediately into the problem. Plus, those thresholds can be set to different levels so that higher level stakeholders and managers are only notified when things get to a certain point that would require their input. Essentially escalating those problems to higher level managers, the more critical they become. So these are just two examples of to show you what's possible with PBA. Another one here, this one is called the project breakdown structure. And it is designed to make it easy to scale big projects. So when you have lots of people working on a big project with thousands of tasks, you could have multiple project managers, multiple controllers, and sometimes they step on each other's toes when manipulating the project. So the project breakdown structure, the PBS, allows you to basically embed multiple levels of full projects, complete with their own, WBS and CBS inside one another. This makes it very easy to group your activities and also summarize what is happening in the project, while the lower levels get to all the details that they need on those front lines. So here I want to talk a little bit about Adika Project Business Automation, how it works. The whole idea of PBA is to create a business system for your projects, and to get the full benefit, that means integrating PBA with your ERP. So on the PBA side, you get the project financials and accounting, you get project schedule management, you get your project insight and analytics. But to get to cover the full business, you want to integrate it with your ERP so that we can connect that to your supply chain system. So, for example, if you have materials that you need for projects, we can integrate those purchase orders and estimated delivery dates into the project schedule, so we know, so we can constrain the project based on those things, or say you have production, manufacturing that needs to happen with a project, same type of thing. We can add those that data into the project as well. There's also, it should connect to your general ledger in your ERP. That's for revenue recognition, but also expenses that get booked against the project need to go back and forth. So there are some key things that need to happen. And the benefit by connecting to your ERP is, you eliminate, again, those disparate systems and the error-prone manual processes. If they aren't connected or integrated, you still have those manual processes of taking data from one system to another. And then it also integrates a lot of the workflows and automates those, and then it enables that real-time visibility across the entire company when you integrate with your ERP. Adika PBA, as an example, we can connect to basically any ERP. We are built on the Dynamics platform, so we work directly with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance, that ERP. So if you're on that ERP, you're selecting that ERP. Adika PBA is completely embedded in that, so it is completely seamless. The same login and everything. If you're using SAP or Oracle, for example, we can stand up PBA as a standalone solution that integrates with those ERPs as well. It's just at that point, it's we connect through the API for those ERPs and move the data back and forth that needs to be moved back and forth. But again, gives you those benefits there, integrating everything and enabling that real-time automation and visibility for the company. So with those examples in mind, I do want to talk a little bit more in detail about some of the transformative impact that project business automation can have on your business. The first is PBA uses the integration and automation to break down the organizational silos that we talked about. So on the left side is that typical setup of a project-driven organization. They have many different systems and applications supporting all the different processes that they have. There's only a few represented here, but many have many more than that. We've got the project scheduling tool, we've got the ERP, we've got the accounting system, we got time and expense, we've got Excel, tons of spreadsheets, of course, but nothing talks to one another. And there's those delays, those errors, those process inefficiencies that occurs, which makes it extremely hard to make business decisions based on that data produced in such an environment. So what PBA does is it brings all that together into one system, eliminates those point solutions, automates those processes and information sharing. It creates that one source of truth so that everyone is always on the same page. It breaks down those silos. This slide is about standardization that PBA offers. So when you have different people doing the same task different ways, you get different results. And you can't put metrics in place that precisely, measure the output effectively when you have that situation. You're basically relying on the individuals and the capacity and the talent of those individuals to be able to deliver. There's nothing standardized that you can do. So with PBA, you standardize and systemize your processes so everything happens the same way every time. The project modeler is an example of that. And then you've got metrics that can be utilized across the board to produce measurable output. So again, that's what PBA can bring, is that standardization and systemization. And the third thing is about speed and early detection. With PBA, business events that used to take weeks or months to manifest until you realize what was going on are now recorded instantly and presented to the relevant stakeholders in real time. And this is, more than a 10x improvement. Some of these things can be, can take 30 days or more to figure out versus you get the insight in real time. It's a massive difference. But it isn't just about faster insight, it's so you can react quicker. PBA proactively captures and analyzes data and helps manage every aspect of the business so that issues that used to cause big problems downstream simply don't occur because you're able to detect the symptoms earlier and fix the real problem quicker. So in this way, you can anticipate, proactively mitigate issues versus, finding out too late and having to go put out fires everywhere. So to sort of summarize the benefits of a project business automation system, there are three main areas to consider that all project businesses are concerned about, and that's cost, risk, and deliverability. PBA creates a structure that governs how you manage your project financials. The result is consistent real-time visibility in your project costs and clearer forecasts so you can deliver more projects within budget. PBA prepares your business for risk also by automatically monitoring your project and business KPIs in real time. And this early warning allows you to detect and respond to issues faster, as I just talked about. The result is you reduce the variance in your projects, which actually protects your profit margins. And on the delivery side, PBA sets up your operations to deliver more projects on time by optimizing capacity and managing those internal and external constraints faster and much better. The result is you meet your client expectations while maximizing the use of your revenue producing resources. And that is project business automation. I would like to open it up for questions now. Please ask your questions through the Q&A module, and I will see those and answer them as quickly as I can. If I do not know the answer, I promise to find out and get back to you, of course. But let me just give a few minutes or just a minute here for any questions to come in. Okay, I do see a couple of trickling in here. I had a question around, do you have any customers in the biotech pharma field? Yes, we do actually. Aranta Bio, I know, is one. I know Jackson Labs. I know, let's see, High Res Biosolutions. And there are others, I believe, but yeah, so we do have customers in biotech pharma, we have customers in energy and utilities, we have customers in construction, manufacturing, professional services, basically just about every industry. The point is, if you have projects that are really important to your business and it's, affects your bottom line, you want a PBA system. Let's see here. And I had a question for clarification. So do you use Dynamics 365 Finance? Wait, what was it? Do you have to use Dynamics 365 Finance as your ERP to use PBA? No, actually. You can use PBA as a standalone solution that integrates with your ERP, such as SAP or Oracle or others. It's just that we're built on 365 as a platform, Dynamics 365 as a platform, and so it becomes a native application for if you use Dynamics 365 Finance as your ERP. So it sits right there in your ERP versus it's essentially a standalone solution that integrates with your ERP if you're using SAP or Oracle or another solution. And then, how we integrate with your ERP then is just a matter of how their API works, documenting the connections and data that needs to pass between the systems, and then just, mapping it up and setting up the connections. Let's see. There was also another question on here. Can you use PBA for internal projects? Yes. The answers to that. So we have customers that, for example, aren't necessarily doing projects for their customers. It's an internal project, essentially. It's capital projects, or it's a project-based division, so of a bigger company. And essentially, then the customer becomes that internal person that is heading up the project. So the answer is yes. I mean, PBA is meant to manage, projects like a business, whether your customer is internal or external. So, and then I have another question: is the project modeler like a CPQ? So CPQ, that is configure, price, quote software, and the answer is yes. But there's a pretty big difference there. It is essentially CPQ, but for projects. The project modeler is project based, so not only does it give you a price and a cost, it gives you an entire project timeline, which is what most CPQ tools cannot do. So you have with an accurate estimate of the price, cost, but also the project schedule. And essentially have the entire project created from the modeler. And you can actually save different versions of the projects you create, so you can provide your customers with different scenarios. And then you can flip whichever one you choose into actual execution of that project. Let's see. I think that's it. I think those are all the questions that have come in. Okay, so what I want to leave you with now is I just want to point you to some resources for further learning, and I'll put these links into the chat as well. The first is our PBA Quick Guide. You may have already downloaded this, but this kind of gives you an overview of project business automation as a category and how it can help your project business. And then the second one here is the PBA Fit Assessment. Let me just put some of these links in the chat. There we go. The PBA Fit Assessment essentially consists of a simple survey that helps you kind of profile your company as a fit for PBA or not. You simply fill out this profile, and then you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with one of our consultants to go over the results. And the purpose of this meeting is just to discuss your company's pain points and any needs you may have, and then determine if PBA makes sense as a solution for those problems. There's no obligation. It's just an educational discussion just to help you discover what's best for your company. Trust me, if PBA is not a fit for you, we don't want to sell you on PBA because it won't be successful for you. And then if you'd like to reach out to us to talk more about PBA, about the value you can expect from PBA, about for your company, to learn more about it, perhaps get a demonstration at a point down the road, please reach out to us, contact us, and we will engage with you then. And with that, I would like to thank everyone for coming today. I hope that you enjoy the webcast and will join us again in the future. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.